the press club. I also have become, as you can imagine, an avid news consumer because I am home watching everybody now instead of being part of the action. So I just want to say that I am so proud of all of you who work in this industry every day and night in local news. Journalism is increasingly under fire, and what you all find the courage to do every day is vital to our way of life. And I am not exaggerating when I say that. We are here to celebrate your truth-telling and your storytelling tonight. And we have some great honorees for everyone to meet in our community. You know, the Press Club was started with the idea to bring together these people who break news along with the people in the community who make the news. So tonight we're going to honor people in both categories. We have our journalists and our community members who have impacted and changed our community for the better over the years. We are also encouraging the next generation of journalists through scholarships. We will distribute one to a student from Bowling Green State University and one to a student from the University of Toledo tonight. And we are only able to continue this scholarship program through the generosity of our sponsors who stepped up in a big, big way this year. So BJ, am I just not seeing the view? Here we go. We want to honor our sponsors here tonight because we could not do this without them. So we want to thank The Blade, Chris Peterson Consulting, Dana, Hart, Mercy Health, Owens Corning, and Savage for sponsoring our event tonight. It has been an extraordinary year for all of us, and the Press Club has had to be innovative and creative in our operations and events. And we have been lucky to have a great leader who has been able to think outside the box and help us move forward during this very unusual and extraordinary year. So please welcome Toledo Press Club President, BJ Fisher. You can clap, we can see you, yay!
Well, I don't clap myself. Right?
No.
Thanks everybody, and you know, I'm very excited. We actually have 77 people on this, which I think is pretty good for a virtual event. And as Chris said, we wish you were all here. However, we were all together. However, and we were planning for an event up until September, but unfortunately, it just did not work out for this year. But come again next year, hopefully we'll be able to do it. It's my honor. Can you hear me?
I can. Can everyone hear him?
Oh.
Yes?
It'd be helpful if I unmuted myself.
You could, no, they could hear you though.
Could they? Okay.
Yeah, right?
All right. I got somebody texted, Lauren Wepler texted me and said they couldn't hear me. Okay. So it's an honor. I wanted to thank everybody for being here and thank everybody for their hard work. I do want to recognize and we're going to come over here and get to the, there we go, that's me. Welcome to the awards. So we do work with a very strong board from the public relations and journalism communities. Here is a list of our current board of directors for the Press Club. And that would include, you'll see on there a couple of new members. They haven't even been to a meeting yet, Aaron Marsh and Charles Welch. Other than that, you can see we've got an excellent selection of folks from the community. So thank very much to all of them who had a role in getting this event to move ahead successfully. And you know, one of the things that last year when we were together at the Toledo Club, we talked about, it seemed like it was pretty tough times for journalism, and there was a lot of talk about fake news and all that sort of thing. We had no idea what 2020 had in store for us, and it turned out to make things even more difficult, right? It was probably 5 times worse. And so we had a couple of responses to that, the Press Club. Chris mentioned that we had been tried to be innovative. One of the things, we had 2 very successful pressing issues programs. One of them was a program on covering the pandemic. What was it like in the early days when we're just all of a sudden working from home? And what was it like for the journalists and the public relations people? And we had a good 70 people participating in that online, and it turned into a sort of a virtual group therapy session for everybody who was on the call. But we had an excellent talk about the challenges of covering news when you're not working out of a newsroom anymore or out of an office, and what kind of stories do we want to tell. The second one we had was in reaction to the protests surrounding George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. We had a number of the African-American reporters from the community come on and talk about the challenges that they had in covering that issue and how they saw the coverage of that moving forward. So I'm very proud of both of those programs that we did this year. They were both examples of what we can do as a press club in terms of helping to build the profession and promote the profession here in Toledo. So one of the things that you're going to see in a second is that we have our contributor awards. And what you're going to see is some people who really innovated, just like all our media people did in tough times. And when we look at the quality of work that we get out of this year's awardees, and when we look at the quality of work that we got out of our honorees, I just think it's worth remembering, all of us, that we are more resilient than we think. And we're certainly, every person who can hear my voice hopes that 2021 is a better year than 2020. But I can tell you that we will be able to get through it no matter what. I wouldn't be doing my job if we didn't have a little bit of a commercial for joining the press club. We would love to have you. Here's why. First of all, our introductory membership is only $30. So we would love to have anyone involved in journalism. They can go to ToledoPressClub.com and join right now if you want to. There's really 4 benefits. You can be part of the conversations that is shaping journalism and communication in our field. Outstanding professional networking. You can support the next generation of journalists and communicators, and enjoy the fellowship of our peers in mixers and social events back when those things can happen. The last little plea for money is that we didn't make any of you buy a dinner, and there's nobody's putting drinks on Larry Boyer's tabs. So we want to ask you if you would like to do an honorary Touchstone Scholarship sponsor to honor one of our 5 community winners from this year, who you can see there on your screen. And we would, you can go to ToledoPressClub.com to make that donation directly, and we will let all those folks know who made donations in their name when once the event is over. So I really hope. So here's the important thing: 100% of the money from this event funds scholarships for journalism and communication students at the University of Toledo and Bowling Green State University, 2 of which will be awarded tonight. So anything you give to the Touchstone Scholarship sponsorships will be used to fund the further education of an outstanding young student in this field. So with that, I'm going to stop that, and I'm going to find you, and I'm going to replace the spotlight. And there you go.
You did it.
Yeah.
Listen, BJ's over here. He has to make his remarks and run the PowerPoint and run the Zoom at the same time. All I have to do is stand here and read my script. So we're good. I give you kudos over there, BJ, at the War Desk, because you are doing a tremendous job. And I would just echo what BJ said there. The press club is a lot of fun, and we do have a lot of fun events when we are not social distancing. We are socially mixing and networking, and it really is a great group. So we hope to see some of you join. We would love to have you. We have an amazing group of community members and career journalists that we are honoring here tonight, and we're going to begin tonight with our contributor awards. Our contributor awards are people who have made a significant contribution to our region over the past year. Our first Touchstone contributor tonight is presented to Dr. Romulus Durant, Superintendent and CEO of Toledo Public Schools. On the afternoon of March 12th, Governor Mike DeWine announced the closure of all schools in the state of Ohio beginning March 16th. So with just 4 days to plan, Dr. Durant made the decision to close the schools and pivot to a 100% virtual learning environment, realizing that TPS has more than 23,000 families, Dr. Durant established many innovative ways to continue serving the students of TPS while removing barriers to learning. Some examples include using the school bus fleet to park in underserved areas for community use of Wi-Fi. They actually outfitted the buses with the Wi-Fi so that the kids could use that. They distributed 8,000 Chromebooks to students who had no access to technology. They leveraged partnerships to get internet access for students in need and provided grab-and-go breakfast and lunch daily for all kids, not just TPS students. As graduation approached, Dr. Durant expressed it was important for him to do his best to make this year's commencements memorable for the class of 2020. So not only did TPS host virtual graduations for all 10 high schools separately, they also hosted 10 drive-through graduations for families who were comfortable to come out and receive their diplomas. And Dr. Durant was present at all of those. He also learned that a graduate would be deployed on the day of the drive-through commencement, so he decided to hand deliver in person that diploma to his home in a surprise pop-up visit. Aside from COVID-related innovation, many other accomplishments occurred under Durant's leadership this year. TPS moved up a letter grade in the state report card. He has led and successfully passed 2 levy campaigns. He opened Escuela Smart Academy, a bilingual school for students, and the Aerospace and Natural Science Academy, Jones Leadership Academy of Business, 2 new STEM academies, and established countless partnerships for the benefit, growth, and development of TPS students. Dr. Durant himself is a proud graduate of Waite High School, the class of 1994, and is truly TPS proud. All you have to do is look on his shirt sleeves anytime you see him, and he'll tell you how proud he is to be TPS. But we are truly proud of his leadership under these conditions, also of his innovation and creativity to make our community and our people better. So Dr. Durant, congratulations on your Contributor Award.
Unmute yourself.
I got to, the host has to let me in. Okay. Again, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to the press club, the selection committee, in regards to this. I can't say enough in regards to thank you to my staff, the Toledo Public Schools staff, as well as our communication department and the Board of Education. In regards to communication department, Ms. Patty Mazur, who is on today, as well with Ms. Candace Harrison, as well as Mrs. Matthews, all that makes up our communication department, really helped to get the good news out about all the things we're doing, as well as reaching to the community in essence of how to get services and support through the district or leveraging our partner to get into the home despite being locked away when we were in the pandemic. More importantly, I want to thank in essence of the community that I come from. Again, I never hesitate to say I'm born and raised an East Sider, once an East Sider, always an East Sider, and pure love for the East Side. And Wade High School, and always make mention, just as she has stated, the class of '94, because I'm proud about where I come from and the roots that I exist from. But more importantly, thank you to all those from whether it's the East Side or Toledo, because I'm truly homegrown. I truly felt like that I was a son to many people because everyone has laid a hand in essence of being a support during my childhood, going through playing football at the University of Toledo, and then going into the system of education within itself, truly had paved the way and the support that I've had for myself. But again, I want to thank even more importantly to my parents. I can't say enough in essence of what I tell people, my parents are what they call self-made. They weren't self-made of riches of money. They were self-made in what they produced in 3 children, from myself, my brother, along with my sister, from them coming with no high school degree and diploma to be able to produce kids who all have high level degrees, as well as doing successful for themselves. You know, like I tell my dad as well as my mom that when I completed my doctorate degree, that I wasn't the first Dr. Durant in the family, that they were the doctorate of Durant of the family. That end of the day, I couldn't scratch the surface of what they've done for me, my brothers, my sister, as well as the community, because my father was a football coach, my mother was the football cheerleader, and they raised us through that during a very young age, all the way until I got into college. And so all those things have really helped to build myself. But more importantly, when my dad helped me in deciding on where I was going to go for high school, because I was heavily recruited, he said, I needed you to go to find where you get the best social IQ. And that's the understanding, because cognitively, we're going to make sure that you're going to get the highest in taking AP courses and everything else, no matter where you go. but the social IQ is really going to set you apart from others. Because at the end of the day, when you can understand people better, the better you're able to relate and ultimately in pursuit of what you do. And during times like this, I can think nothing less than the social IQ that I learned at Wade High School. When people ask what college courses I took, I said the University of Wade High School. Because at the end of the day, the diversity that was in that school, from socioeconomics to diversity to religion, was all there. I truly felt like I understood people no matter what background they come from. So with that said, again, thank you. We're still in trying times with this pandemic. You know, we went and made sure we had Chromebooks in every hand. We made sure we had Wi-Fi in every hand. And then next thing you know, they told us, well, you know what, the moratorium on electricity is going to end, with electric could get turned off. So now we're making sure that every household has electric in order to be able to fire up their Chromebooks. But again, no matter what, it's a trying time, but ultimately through my challenges and tribulations of coming up, truly had built me for times such as this. But more important people on this Zoom has always been a support to this district, the children of this community, as well as myself. To that, I say thank you to every one of you, because every one of you are the true contributor awardees and winners. Again, thank you.
Dr. Durant, thank you so much. And thank you for your leadership over this past year. All of those families, and especially the TPS students and parents, really appreciate everything I know that the school system has done and continues to do. As you said, right? It's like whack-a-mole. You fix one problem and another problem pops up, and TPS is always there thinking about all of those things that really don't have anything to do with education necessarily, but go into a student's well-being. And we appreciate you and your leadership. Thank you. Another person in our community who has truly made a difference to children and families, indeed, many have called her a lifesaver over the past year. Wendy Huntley is the Executive Director of Connecting Kids to Meals, an organization that provides vital nutrition to children in our region. Kids can't be kids when they are hungry. When kids aren't in school, many experience food insecurity, unsure of where their next meal will come from. And in Greater Toledo, this may surprise you that 40% of kids live in poverty. On March 12th, when Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announced the temporary closure of all K-12 schools, the rug was pulled out from under a lot of these children and families. For many, lunches and breakfasts that are normally provided during in-person school days were the only meals they would receive all day. These kids count on eating at school. Under Ms. Huntley's leadership, Connecting Kids to Meals responded in this hour of need and stepped up to activate more than 24 grab-and-go food sites across the county, offering 2 meals per day and weekend food kits to sites to get students through the summer weekends. Approximately 5,000 students participated in the weekend meal pickups each week. The need is real. Wendy Huntley and Connecting Kids to Meals are eliminating basic need gaps for our community's most vulnerable and most treasured population, our children. The Press Club of Toledo is proud to present a Touchstone Contributor Award to Wendy Huntley.
Here we go.
Gotcha, Wendy. Okay, try to unmute yourself, Wendy.
There we go.
There
we are. Awesome. Thank you, Chris, for such a warm introduction. I'm just honored to receive, this Touchstone Contributor Award. It means the world to me. BJ Fisher, thank you so much. Press Club of Toledo, thank you. I'm so grateful to my family and my friends, but I especially want to thank my staff and my board at Connecting Kids to Meals, because this award is really a recognition of all of the amazing work that we've done together to feed kids, especially during this awful pandemic. It takes a team to make things happen, but in fact, we didn't even do this work by ourselves. We had the generous support of funders. We had true collaboration from our partners. And we also had the investment of time from our volunteers who helped to serve meals and package meals every single day. And so there's so many folks that are struggling right now. As Chris alluded to the fact, childhood hunger is serious in our community. It was serious before the pandemic. And so, we are honored to be able to stand in the gap We've been able to provide over 500,000 meals in just 6 months. We barely provided 500,000 meals all of last year. And so tonight, this award is truly about every person who packaged a meal, every person on my staff who inputs data, every person that drives meals from one point to the next point, every person that reached in their pocket, in their treasure trove to help us to feed kids. I'm grateful, and tonight, on behalf of Connecting Kids to Meals family, we just say thank you for this award and for this recognition during this pandemic.
Thank you so much, Wendy, and congratulations. Wendy is one of those quiet people that just rolls up her sleeves and does the work. And so you don't often hear necessarily about what they're doing. But when you think not only of 500,000 meals, 500,000 meals going out in just 6 months, but also think about how quickly they had to activate themselves to make that happen, because all of this happened so quickly, where it was just schools were closed and now kids aren't eating. So on behalf of the Press Club, Wendy, and Connecting Kids to Meals, we thank you for the amazing work that you're doing in our community to make sure our kids are well and strong. And we know that you're going to keep doing it as long as we need it. So thank you very much. Our next award is the 2020 Lifetime Achievement Touchstone, and this goes to a man who has made countless contributions to our region in business, public service, and philanthropy. Robert Bob Savage Sr. is Chairman Emeritus at Savage & Associates and previously served as the company's president and CEO for 28 years. He served as a member of Toledo City Council, as well as a trustee for the University of Toledo for 11 years and the University of Toledo Foundation for more than 9 years. Bob received the highest alumni award from the University of Toledo, that is the Gold T Award, in 2003, and the College of Business Administration and Innovation Pacemaker Award in 2010. He was the key organizer and leader in developing the Savage & Associates Complex for Business Learning and Engagement at the university's College of Business. He and his wife, Sue, were awarded the Outstanding Philanthropist Award presented by the Northwest Ohio chapter of the Association of Fundraising Professionals in 2017. The AFP cited Imagination Station, Toledo Lucas County Public Library, and Toledo Area Christ Child Society as just a few of their philanthropic initiatives. Now, when we told some folks that Bob Savage was going to win the Lifetime Achievement Award here tonight, or receive it from the Toledo Press Club, we had people coming out of the woodwork asking if they could be part of this presentation to Bob. He has fans all over our region who just love him. But we couldn't let everybody talk all night on just Bob's behalf. So we are going to hear from just one of those folks. BJ, you had a chance to talk with Jim Hoffman from Key Bank, and we're going to hear what Jim has to say about Bob's impact in the community.
Okay, this is BJ Fisher, president of the Press Club, and I'm here with Jim Hoffman of Key Bank. And thank you very much for being here as part of our event. As you know, we have awarded Bob Savage with the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Touchstone Awards, which we give every year to somebody who has made a significant contribution over many years to the community. And I'm wondering, Jim, you've been a friend of Bob and a colleague of Bob's for a long time. Talk about the contributions he's made to the community from your perspective.
Yeah, kind of three things come to mind when I think of Bob and the community here. Obviously, he started out with his political involvement, getting involved in city council and obviously serving on some university boards as well. Those are some things that not everybody gets to do in their life, and Bob took great advantage of those at a young age, and those relationships and the experiences he's still using today in our city. I always think of the University of Toledo when I think of Bob as well. Been active out there. He was a grad. I think I actually met him when I was in college. I think he was taking an insurance exam out there. So we go back a long, long time, actually. He got he worked really hard on elevating the business school. Of course, it's named after Savage and Associates because Bob headed up the fund drive there to help the school get their new facilities. And then the thing that I've worked the most with Bob on would have been Imagination Station. He and I go back to the early days of forming that. We've been on the board since the beginning. He and I co-chaired the big fund drive in the beginning when we had to go raise 20 or 25 million to actually make Imagination Station happen. And we can continue to be very active 28 years later with the Imagination Station.
That's excellent. So what kind of ways do you think that the community is stronger because of Bob Savage's involvement over his life?
Well, I think certainly Bob's a good fundraiser, and I do a lot of fundraising myself, and the biggest part of fundraising is having the perseverance to stay with it. It's hard work. Not everybody is looking forward to your meeting, because you're trying to get significant gifts from people. On the other hand, if you believe that you're helping the community and you're actually helping donors, it's a fun thing to do. And Bob, I know he enjoys it. Probably the thing that I'd say he's best known for would be the Science Society that he formed. I remember him talking to me about that before he formed it. And what are the ideas? How could we go about it and all that? And, he really has been the guiding light on the Science Society. And the Science Society, gosh, is probably in its 8th, 9th year. I can't even remember anymore. But it's raised several $1 million, and those funds go to helping Imagination Station upgrade its exhibits and keep working on WOW activities. And of course, the new Key Bank Discovery Theater is the latest thing that's going. Obviously, Key's involved with that, but the Science Society also made, a major gift of $1 million to make that also happen. So those are things I think of in terms of big contributions.
So we have a list. We have a large group tonight of people who are in journalism and communication and community leaders. What kind of lessons or inspiration do you think of when you think about Bob Savage Sr.?
Well, it's kind of interesting. Bob came from very humble beginnings, and kind of interesting. His parents and my parents actually owned corner grocery stores, so we had something in common there. And he was fortunate enough to have hardworking parents, and that work ethic transferred over to Bob. So I think Bob would be one of the ones that would say, you don't have to be the smartest guy in the room, but if you outwork everybody, you could probably get somewhere. So I think of, hard work ethic, being determined. I think Bob's an optimistic kind of guy. I think he's always tends to be looking forward rather than looking behind things, seeing the glass sort of half empty. And I think those are all really good traits, and they carry people well in life as you try to take on things and get people to work with you to get things done.
Jim, that's great. I really appreciate you giving us some time to give us your thoughts on Bob and Savage Sr. We hope very much we'll get a chance to speak to you soon, but thank you for coming on and have a nice evening.
Great. Thanks, BJ, everybody.
Thanks so much, Jim. And now you heard Jim talk about how humble Bob is, and that is absolutely true. When he was going to get this award, one of the reasons that we wanted to talk with Jim was because we couldn't convince him to talk. But we did convince him to say a few words on his own behalf here tonight. I mean, it's a Lifetime Achievement Award, and the Toledo Press Club, Bob, is so thrilled to present this to you tonight for all of the impact and contribution that you have made to our community in so many different ways. Congratulations to you.
Well, thank you very much. I truly appreciate your remarks, and I can tell you, Huffman and I have been in many wars over the years, and we've always been on the same side. And I treasure that. He is one of the more effective people in town, which is why the new theater, which when you see it, you won't believe what it's going to be like to upgrade people wanting to go downtown. is unbelievable. I just had a chance to see it a couple weeks ago, and it is mind-boggling what they can do technologically. And it should help lots of kids fall in love with science and math. That's what we all hope. You know, I really didn't know what to say, but I thought I would give you a little perspective on the Savage family, because most people just know the name and don't know much about the family. But I'm the 9th child. And we lived down on Detroit Avenue at near West Delaware. My dad never owned a house. Our grocery store was 2.5 blocks up the road. And my dad had been superintendent of schools up in Osceola Forks, New York, which is almost to Canada, up in the cold area. And right out of college, they made him the superintendent. I doubt if many people wanted a job, actually. He used to say it that way. But in the process, he put himself in a position where he loved it. And the superintendent, the chairman of the board, actually owned the biggest company up there and was a very wealthy man. And he told him he thought he was the best at coordinating the teachers. Everything he did was perfect. And he told him the same thing the second year. And the third year, when you went to sign his 1-year contract, he said, my dad's name was John. He said, John, you're going to sign this, please. But I want you to know this is the last year you'll get a contract to be our superintendent. And my dad was really crushed. He felt bad. And he said, no, you don't understand. He said, you know, we have snow and ice up here at least 4 months a year and sometimes more. There's not much happening up here. You're too sharp to get stuck up here. And I like you so much. I want you to go out and develop somewhere. And the truth is the Great Lakes area is doing very well. But you've got a year to plan your move to get out of here and have a far better life because you want to get married and all that. And you think about having a guy that sharp who went out of your way to help him. And that's how he got to Toledo. So I think it is interesting too, in that, you know, I never knew my mother. My mother died of my childbirth. 9 kids, no mother, didn't own the house, and he made it work in a neighborhood where virtually no one went to college. You would never know how to tell my dad you weren't going to go to college if you're one of the kids, because that would be a very short meeting. And thank God for that, obviously. But there's no question he inspired the kids, and just watching him, and the store was open 12 hours a day and 5 hours on Sunday. We all obviously put in enormous time. I became the night butcher my senior year at Central Catholic, so my brother could go out and start the business that learn more about the business, and eventually we started our own. It was just an amazing thing, the respect my dad had in the neighborhood, because he didn't really do anything at the store. People came in to get his advice because in the neighborhood he had more education than most people. And they would come in and they'd tell them about their problems in the corner, never shared, obviously. But it was wonderful to watch him and what he could do. So growing up in such a blessed family with such good leadership certainly helped Brother John and I a great deal, knowing that you could accomplish a lot. But I'm very, very honored to have the award. It's very meaningful to me. I've known over the years a lot of the press club people. In the early days, I went to a lot of the meetings and enjoyed the fellowship afterwards. But I have to admit, I don't do that quite as much as I used to. But I always have enormous respect for people in the media, and people like our superintendent who have dedicated their lives to just making Toledo, Ohio a much better place. So, we've got 6 kids. We have 3 here in town, and we have one. It's been in India for a long time, helping the poor. Actually, made a lot of money on Wall Street, And what they're, and he's got about 150 people now that work for him, or 106 or something. And they're all helping the poor in Bangalore, India. And he had 2 or 3 at the beginning, and he raised the money to put all that together. And it's wonderful to see the kids doing those things. We have one that lives in Ireland, and one just moved from Sweden to Boston. So, and then we have 3, and the 3 here in town we love more because they're in the house all the time. And girls are much more valuable than boys. I can tell you that. That's not even, that's a no-brainer. The girls are in our house 3 days a week if they're here once, making sure that my wife doesn't have to do anything too heavy. And so we're all blessed. But, you know, I've been blessed. Think about the great life I've had. You know, I'm not 18 anymore. And the truth is I feel great. I try to take care of myself. My wife and I do a decent amount of exercise on a regular basis right here in the house. And I hope to be able to continue to work with guys like Jim to put more things together to make Toledo a better place. And I please thank all the members of the club for the award. We really appreciate it.
Bob, I can't think, and the committee could not think, the board could not think of somebody more deserving than you for this Lifetime Achievement Award and all the contributions that you've made in so many ways to our community. So thank you so much. And want to tell everybody that our chat room is open. If you'd like to send a note of congratulations to the folks that are receiving awards here tonight, go to the chat. Make sure that you go to the menu and click on everyone so that everyone can see your comments, not just BJ, who is running the ship over there. And feel free to chat with each other, offer kudos and congratulations. Also, your reactions down there should work. So if you want to give someone a heart or an applause or a smiley face, I'm going to give you guys all a party blow right there. So we're just having fun here tonight. We want to make sure that we keep this camaraderie going. And Bob, congratulations on your Lifetime Achievement Award. The Golden Touchstone Award is awarded each year for a lifetime of excellence in journalism. And this year we have 2 Golden Touchstone awardees. Our first recipient is a trailblazer who crashed through glass ceilings and became an example to emulate with a lifetime of excellence in journalism. Mary Alice Powell was the food editor of The Blade, a job she created and then masterfully executed for 41 years. Ms. Powell compiled and edited cookbooks, reviewed restaurants, produced food demonstration shows and food fairs. She worked without an assistant. Any shopping, cooking, baking, plating, staging, all done by her for her articles. Her writing ensured that food was part of the area's conversation, not just as a necessity for life, but for its cultural, historic, and aesthetic qualities as well. And look at where we are. Toledo is always on the food map, and probably in large part due to Mary Alice. Perhaps most importantly of all, though, is that she refers to her career as a 41-year love affair with the readers of The Blade. She elevated the profession, and we are thrilled that she's with us tonight to receive a Golden Touchstone Award. And I understand, Mary Alice, that we should be calling you Dr. Mary Alice Powell. You have an honorary doctorate degree from Adrian College.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Hello from the dining room in the Little Green Bungalow in Grand Rapids, Ohio. You can certainly say that I have done full circle in communications, beginning with my old Smith Corona typewriter, which of course I still have, and now Zooming tonight. But since learning of this award, my head has been spinning, hoping to find just the right words to thank everyone who has lifted me to this high honor. So to the press club members and officers, just please know that this is a very personal thing for me because you are my peers and we share these same communication goals. And to have been chosen for this honor at this point in life, which is 92 years old, certainly has put the frosting on a wonderful life in journalism. Today, I am as thrilled to write a story about something or someone or someplace as much as I was when I wrote the very first story back in 1947 for the Adrian Daily Telegram, or even before that, when I was editor of the Adrian High School newspaper, the Maple Leaf. You know, I would be remiss this evening if I didn't recognize the two women who were so influential in my young life. I was raised by a single mother who operated the rooming house where we lived. She had been an 8th grade school teacher, and so every night at supper time, after supper, she would hold a spelling bee just for the two of us. At the time, I detested it, but as I look back now, I appreciated it, and it just might even be better than spell check now is. Another thing that she did was, I'm sorry, encouraged me to write down everything I saw that I was interested in, people we met, and she would say, just write that down in your tablet. Well, I was working after I was 18 and working second shift in an Adrian factory after graduation when I received the most important telephone call in my life. Mildred Armstrong, my high school English teacher and the newspaper advisor, had heard they needed a cub reporter at the Adrian newspaper, and she encouraged me to apply for the job. Well, I have never, ever forgotten that call and have never aspired to do anything else but journalism. I'm sorry. 6 years after working at the Telegram in 1953, my newspaper career advanced 1,000-fold, and I had the opportunity to join the women's news staff at the Toledo Blade. I was scared and excited to go to the big city and write for the big newspaper. Everybody in Adrian, of course, knew all about the Toledo Blade. 3 years after joining the Blade, my good fortune went over the top when I was appointed the Blade's first food editor by Marge Block, John and Alan Block's mother. And 2 or 3 years after that, restaurant coverage was added to the food beat. And so for 41 years, broadening years, I might add, I cooked and ate and cooked and did it over and over again. In other words, to put it mildly, I enjoyed the best job in Toledo. As food editor, I was privileged to spend time with families in Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan, to spend time with them in their kitchens, their orchards, their fields, their gardens, and just learn what they cooked and how they enjoyed living in our heartland. And tracking Toledo's phenomenal restaurant industry was an educational to learn about all the cultures that we have in our area. For Toledo's foreign people, food is a main expression. I've got some notes. The rest of the people spoke freelance, but I just, I do have notes. I always have notes. Well, there are a lot of good memories on the food beat, and there are just a few that are outstanding I might mention. The 20 Blade Food Fairs at the Masonic Auditorium, lunch with Julia Child in her Boston studio, tea at the White House, writing 5 cookbooks, and holding local recipe contests and judging national ones besides. You know, when I'm asked why I have enjoyed every day and every story, the answer is just one word: sharing. To me, being able to write what I see and what I learn is just a matter of sharing information with other people. And that has continued to be my greatest reward. So after 41 years, as Chris said, I turned in my apron and joined a diet program and retired as food editor. But my passion to write and my interest in people continues in my Sunday column in the Blade. I want to thank the Blade family, the Blocks, John and Alan, certainly his late father, and Marge, who appointed me food editor. My sincere appreciation goes certainly to the editors and the photographers and the other people who through the years on the Blade staff have exercised patience and understanding of my work that sometimes was just a little bit off the wall, my ideas. You know, rarely a day passes that I don't remember my mother saying, "Mary, don't forget your notebook." You know, I never have forgotten it. And at the same time, I also each day silently thank Miss Armstrong, whose lesson has remained with me. There's always a story in everyone and in every place. And I want to thank again the Toledo Press Club. This means a great deal to me. I appreciate it. And especially to the Block family and to my faithful readers. I love you all. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mary Alice. And you are missed. There will never be another Mary Alice Powell. I think we can all agree on that. And you need to go and read some of the comments people are writing in there for you, Mary Alice. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
And I know I am not alone when I say, I mean, you said you're 92 and I don't believe it for a minute. I think you are fibbing. Like everybody out there is going, what? She's not, you look beautiful.
Oh, I should not have said that.
It's all that delicious food. And I will just share with people, Mary Alice and I have judged together a few food contests along the way, including the rib off one year. And I was eating so enthusiastically the first couple of ribs, and Mary Alice said, you know, you have 27 more plates to go. You might want to slow it down. And it was the best advice that I got, because I got to about plate 4 and I was ready to quit, but I couldn't quit. So thank you, Mary Alice, and congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
We're so proud to be here and to be able to honor you tonight. Our next Golden Touchstone Award goes to a man that I had the pleasure of working with for 2 decades at WTOL TV, but that was only half the time that he actually worked there at the TV station. Dick Berry spent 40 years as a reporter at WTOL, and his work was an essential part of our region's story over those 4 decades. Mr. Berry won an Emmy for his coverage of the All-Ohio Space Shuttle crew. In total, it's estimated that Dick covered 20,000 stories over his career. It's hard to imagine any reporter covering a wider variety of stories than Dick did, ranging from roller coasters, which was always our favorite, the new roller coaster at Cedar Point, all the way to a popular day tripping series that people still talk about all these years later. He interviewed Jerry Mather and then covered the arrest of serial killer Alton Coleman on the same day. And he is the only known member of the local media to appear on stage with Ozzy Osbourne. A very good distinction. On his retirement, his colleagues remarked on his professionalism and commitment to quality reporting. It was certainly a milestone as a young reporter in the newsroom when Dick Berry gave you a compliment on something. Also, his retirement party was a who's who of Northwest Ohio, with hundreds of people who had been on the receiving end of Dick's microphone and appreciated his longevity and his professionalism over all those decades. Dick, it was a pleasure and an honor working with you for all those years at WTOL TV. It's a pleasure having you in my living room here tonight. I can tell you that. And the Press Club thanks you for your many years of service to our journalism community. We're proud to award you the Golden Touchstone this evening.
Well, thank you, Chris. It was always a privilege working with you at Channel 11 over the years. And with Mary Alice Powell, what a tough act to follow, huh? And I bet you one thing, I bet she never appeared in concert with Ozzy Osbourne. I doubt that. Listen, this is a great honor tonight. I want to thank the Press Club for giving me this award, an award that I'd like to share with several groups of people that I've dealt with over the years. First of all, I would like to thank all the many viewers. Oops. We're okay, all right. I'd like to thank my many co-workers over those 40 years. Very professional group of people, so thank you. I'd also like to thank the folks who were always there to answer the telephone for me whenever I would call them up asking for help in developing the story, and especially the local public relations, marketing, and advertising community here in Toledo. We've got very lucky to have some good folks there. And finally, last but not least, I'd like to thank the viewers of Channel 11. Because without the viewers, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I just want to say something about the viewers too, and that's that, you know, my boss is always sign my paycheck, but I always look at the viewers as being my real boss. So thank you very much for allowing me to come into your living room over the years. And again, I want to share this award with you, and thank you very much for everything to everyone. Back to you, Chris.
He's been waiting to say that. Back to you, Chris.
Yeah.
I know, because, you know, it hasn't been that long since Dick retired, and you do miss it, you know, at least for the first year or so. But I know he's found a lot of fun things to do in his retirement. And as soon as we get through this, we'll be back at spring training, I imagine, Dick, right?
I hope so, yeah.
Watching baseball, which is one of his favorite pastimes. But truly, Dick, you have set a standard in our community, and there is no one more versatile that I have ever worked with than you. So thank you so much. You could send him to any story, and you know that he was going to cover it in a big way. Thanks, Dick. The Press Club of Toledo is proud to usher in the newest generation of journalists each year by providing scholarships to students studying the craft. And we actually give 2 scholarships each year, one to a student at Bowling Green State University and one to a student at the University of Toledo. The Touchstones are our annual major fundraiser for these scholarships. And thanks to the generosity of our sponsors for this particular Touchstones, we were able to not only continue our 2 scholarships this year, but we were able to raise the dollar amount we are giving to each recipient to $1,000 this year. So we are really excited about that. Here to introduce our scholarship recipient representing Bowling Green State University is Press Club board member Dave Kielmeyer. Dave? Hang on.
Hang on. It's
the mothership is doing some magic over here to get Dave Kielmeyer up here for us. Hold on. This is what they call ad-libbing. Tap dancing.
Yeah, is this video on?
Dave, is your video on? I see him. I
There we
see
go.
you, Dave. Got
There
him?
we go.
There we go. Got you. Hold on, Dave. Can't hear you.
And I'm unmuted.
Now
I'm
you're
here.
unmuted.
Thank you, Chris. It is my pleasure to introduce this year's scholarship recipient from Bowling Green State University, Shane Nissen. Shane is a senior studying multi-platform journalism. He's a native of Clay Center and a graduate of Genoa High School. Go Comets. Shane is currently sports director of BG Falcon Media, where he coordinates cross-platform coverage in the student-run campus newspaper, TV news operation, and the 2 campus radio stations. In his spare time, Shane hosts a high school football show on WFOB radio in Fostoria and strings for the Bowling Green Sentinel Tribune. In the words of Bob Bortel, director of student media at the university, Bob says, quote, Shane is the epitome of the multi-skilled storytellers that BGSU aspires to develop. He excels in text, video, and audio reporting and blends all those skills in his work. Shane impressed the selection committee with his work ethic, diverse media talents, and his academic excellence. He is currently on track to graduate with honors in May of 2021. He plans to pursue a career in sports journalism following graduation. Congratulations, Shane.
Shane, we congratulate you, and I know you're on this call here, so I'm looking at you. Wave to everybody, and we're sending you. There we go. We're sending you lots of congratulations, and look forward to seeing you and your success in the upcoming years ahead, Shane. Thanks so much for being here and being part of our program here tonight. Now here to present the scholarship to our student from the University of Toledo is Executive Director of Marketing and Communication at UT, Megan Cunningham, who is also a Press Club board member. I told you we have big people on our board, and we need you guys to join and be part of us, because these are the kind of quality people we have going. How you doing over there with Megan, BJ?
I almost got her. There we go.
Here we go.
World record speed.
Can we hear you?
Yeah, I think so. Can you hear me? Great. I'm glad Dave went first. Well, first of all, I wanted to say that I think it's amazing, and thanks again to all of our all of our sponsors for being able to increase our scholarships to $1,000 this year. I think that's fantastic. And so I am honored to have the opportunity to introduce this year's scholarship recipient from the University of Toledo, Kennedy Ellison, and she is also on the call today. Kennedy is a senior at the University of Toledo, and she is studying media communication and has a minor in criminal justice. She's a student reporter for UT 10 News, which is our student-produced newscast here at the university. Among her favorite stories so far as a student journalist, she shared the legacy of Lancelot Thompson, a trailblazing professor and administrator at UT Toledo, for which our student union is now named. And then while she was studying remotely herself this spring, she covered a story on how Detroit Public Schools, the largest district in Michigan, went virtual during the coronavirus outbreak. She inspired all of us at the Press Club in her scholarship application with her passion for journalism. I'm going to quote her directly here. She said, "I aspire to be a journalist because I believe in truth and knowledge is power." When she graduates in the spring of 2021, Kennedy plans to work at a local television station. She wants to be a news reporter, and she believes it's a journalist's responsibility to serve the community because it's important for the public to know what's happening. I couldn't agree more. Congratulations, Kennedy.
Kennedy, we want to send our heartfelt congratulations to you from the Press Club, and we know you're on this call too, so wave to everybody and let us know you're here. Hi, Kennedy. we know we're in good hands. It's, you know, we watch Shane and we watch Kennedy, and we see and listen to their philosophy and see the stories that they're already producing at such a young age. And we know that we're in really good hands. And by the way, both of you, you are eligible to be members of our press club if you would like to do so. So just a little plug to get you into the club. We'd love to have you. Okay, I think my video is off, BJ. The mother, you can hear me, but you can't see me. Here we go. Otherwise, Megan, you're gonna have to sit there and tap dance for the rest of the show.
There we go. There we go.
So thank you very much. No snacks or bathroom break for you, Megan, because you're gonna be the star from here on out. All right, the Press Club of Toledo is an organization rich in nearly 50 years of tradition and more active than ever in promoting journalism excellence. We are lucky to live in this community where we can expect local media to meet the highest standards of journalism. And tonight we are recognizing that excellence from all of you. Our Touchstone Awards were judged by members of the Salt Lake City Press Club this year. We want to thank them for their time. It is not an easy task. And we want to thank all of you who entered these awards this year. It's not easy to judge. I know it's hard to enter, but there were so many great entries. And I know it was tough for them to choose the recipients of these awards tonight. It's not an easy job. So here we go with our journalism awards now. And remember, again, you can put in the chat box, congratulations to the folks who win. Our first category is Print Daily Hard News. The description of this story is full, complete coverage of coronavirus. The work includes the first death from corona in Ohio, postponement of the primary election, and the long-term impact in the community at large. The judges said this entry gives timely local context to a global story, which is local journalism at its finest. The winner in the Print Daily Hard News category is the Blade staff for their coronavirus coverage. Everybody's clapping. I know we can't hear it. All right, our next category is Print Daily Feature. And the description of this article, this feature explored the role that young Black women played in locally orchestrating the Black Lives Matter protests. The female drive group Toledo Together was determined to make sure its voice was heard. The judges said, pointing us to voices we may never consider but are so important. Thank you for highlighting their work. The article is Toledo Together offers local civil rights perspective of young Black women. Precious Fondren from the Toledo Blade. Put it in the chat, guys. Our next category is Print Daily Sports. The works submitted included UT Athletics and its COVID testing policies, Michigan Athletics success and its academic standards, plus the case for keeping BG and UT in the football championship subdivision. The judges said sports journalism is more than stats and X's and O's. This journalist gives perspective on what's happening with these events and makes them relevant. The winner in the Print Daily Sports category is Dave Briggs from the Blade. Congratulations, Dave. Our next category is Print Non-Daily Hard News. And the description of this entry that won, as we continue to deal with algae in Lake Erie, the author examined the causes of the toxic algae and how Northwest Ohio was dealing with the crisis. The judges said bringing so many angles to this story probably opened a lot of eyes to a very major issue. The article, Are We Saving Lake Erie? From the press, Kelly Kazala is our winner. Congratulations, Kelly. Our next category is Print Non-Daily Feature. The description of this article, it was a musician journey of bluesman Dooley Wilson. The judges said this was a great read about what seems like a pretty amazing musician. A musical journey through the mojo of a Toledo bluesman was the article by Jason Weber in the Toledo City paper. Congratulations, Jason. Our next category is photojournalism videography. The description of this is during the first weeks of the COVID-19 pandemic, there was a lot of uncertainty and fear. Things were different, but Toledo was still home. While we may not have been on the front lines like healthcare and grocery workers, we were watching, listening, and getting answers. In this video essay, this person shared his vision of what was happening yesterday, today, and tomorrow. The judges said these were powerful images that really bring home some parts of COVID we forget about. The piece was called Empty Streets, Fear, Hope, and the winner is Todd Gartner from WTVG. I hear you clapping out there, everybody. Our next category is photojournalism print. The description of this one, two Scott High School teens with an amazing reaction to the news that their colleges will be paid for. This, the judges said, was an amazing look at raw, unscripted emotion. This is called Students Learn About College Offer, and it's Kurt Stice from The Blade. Congratulations, Kurt. And look at that photo. No wonder he won. That is amazing. Our next category is television hard news. The Guilty Without Proof series examined the 1998 murder case of 13-year-old Maurice Purify and the two men behind bars who, for 20 years, have said they have nothing to do with it. The judges said this raised strong questions about a story many had probably long forgotten about. Guilty Without Proof is the entry from WTOL. The winner is Brian Duggar. Next is television feature. Toledo native photographer Eric Perez de Tagle is celebrating Pride Month with his latest series, Toledo's Pride, sharing the stories of Toledoans in the LGBTQIA+ community through photos and detailed descriptions showing that you are not alone. The judges thought this was a unique way of telling a story with compelling photos that made good television. Toledo's Pride Photography Series piece was done by Alexandra Kruger from BCAN. Congratulations, Alexandra. Our next is television sports category. In October, Noor Abu Karam competed in the district cross-country meet. She wore a Nike hijab. Without a waiver, it was against OHSAA rules, so she was disqualified. This story features her next race after being cleared and given permission to wear the hijab. The judges thought this was good storytelling to introduce people to a strong young woman. The piece was titled Let Noor Run. From BCSN, our winner is Claire Dow. Congratulations, Claire. The next category is radio single report. This was a weekly series, Toledo Symphony Lab. The issue of stage fright was examined. A clinical psychotherapist was offering advice as the host related his own personal story. Stage fright, the judges said, takes you behind the scene on a topic most people don't really think about, but is very real. And our winner from WGTE Radio, Brad Cresswell. Way to go, Brad. Our next category is radio show series. Whoops, we skipped ahead there. BJ? BJ!
I'm doing it. There you go.
You're ruining my thunder over there. The description of this radio series in collaboration with the Toledo Symphony aims to bring a pop culture aesthetic to the storied world of classical music. And the judges thought the quality storytelling and music came at a time when both were needed. The Toledo Symphony Lab from WGTE, Brad Cresswell, again, the winner in radio series. Congratulations, Brad. Next is podcast category. An ongoing short-form radio podcast explores the social and cultural fabric of the local community while uncovering personal stories and experiences that resonate globally. The judges thought this was a unique way to have a quick and powerful insight into some pretty creative works. Rough Draft Diaries is the winner. And the person that does the Rough Draft Diaries from WGTE is Haley Taylor, a former Toledo Press Club board member. Congratulations, Haley. We are thrilled for you. Our next category is social media. WTOL 11, the twice daily update on Instagram, lets you know what you missed, what's trending, and what's coming next. And the judges said this was a fun way to get a quick wrap of things that you need to know. The winner is In the Loop, WTOL. In our digital media category, this is an Instagram page that entices the audience to dive deeper into stories that affect their lives. We spotlight real people and real voices during events important to our community by placing their words in our highlights section, as is evident in our 11 listens, protest stories, and Trump in Ohio highlights. The judges thought this was a nice mix of news, weather, light, and timely posts. The winner in the digital media category is WTOL Instagram. WTOL. Let's see, next category is student television. This piece took a closer look at BGSU's Angela Perry. She started 2 games her sophomore year. As a junior, she's the leading scorer on the BGSU women's basketball team and set a career high with 36 points in a game. The judges said this was a nice introduction for fans for someone who seems like a big part of the team. Angela Perry, a leader for the Falcons, was the entry from Chase Buckman at BGSU. Chase, congratulations. Our next category is student print. This piece took a look into 2 brothers who started their own environmentally conscious fashion brand while being full-time students. The judges said this was a great way to paint a picture of a world few people ever think about. The piece was called Creamy Studios Helps People Express Individuality Through Sustainable Clothing. And the winner from The Post at Ohio University is Riley Reynolds. Riley, you are a queen, a gem, and I love you. That's my daughter, and I'm so proud tonight. So I'm just going to give a little shout out to her. Congratulations, Riley. Finally, our last category of our Journalism and Communication Awards. You know, we have so many amazing communicators and PR experts that are part of our press club family and press club board. And yet we never, until this year, had a category for public relations. So we added that this year, and we hope to expand it even more in the future. But for tonight, this is our first Public Relations Award. The entry was an integrated marketing and public awareness campaign that the judges said was a really great showcase for what seems like a showcase event for your city. The winner in this category is Jeep Fest from Thread Marketing. Congratulations to Thread on a wonderful campaign and winning our first PR award tonight. We want to say congratulations to all of our honorees and nominees. We thank you for entering, as we said, and those of you who have won, we will get in touch with you. We have your awards. We just can't quite use that Jetsons beam me up Scotty thing to send it to you tonight. So we will get your awards to you. We promise. They are coming. And we'll let you know in short time in the future how to get those. And we want to, again, encourage all of you who are not members of the press club to consider joining. We do have a really great group, and this is an industry that really needs people kind of looking out and advocating for it at every step of the way. So thanks to BJ over there. He's doing like triple duty tonight as president, as cruise ship director, as Zoom IT guy. And we want to appreciate him and all of you for being here with us tonight. We're going to keep our fingers crossed that we are back together in person with those shrimp and lamb lollipops this time next year. Congratulations to all of our community members who won their awards tonight. We so admire and are inspired by all of the work that you're doing in our community. We'll see you next year, folks. Stay safe, stay healthy. Bye. I see you, Ron. I see Larry and Mike and Kim. and Mike Bryce and Todd and Barb Hendel. I see Sean Haggerty. Dr. Durant.